Right now, autism is back in the headlines. From President Trump's comments about Tylenol to Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s long history of making outlandish claims about vaccines, there's a lot of fear and misinformation that's swirling. And if you're a leader, this matters because your employees, your colleagues, maybe even your loved ones are the ones that are carrying that weight. Hi, I'm Summer. I'm a keynote speaker and leadership trainer who researches neurodivergence in the workplace. And this week, I want to talk about how leaders can step into this moment, not by having all of the answers, but by creating space to listen, to support, and to use language that builds trust instead of fear. When autism is used as a political talking point, which it has been many times in the past, it doesn't just live in the news cycle. It shows up in the break room, in the classroom, and around the family dinner table. Individuals with autism and their families hear these headlines and they feel the ripple effect. Sometimes that ripple is fear, sometimes it's stigma, and sometimes it's frustration that their identity is being reduced to a debate. And a debate with people who don't actually understand what the debate is about. Now, when RFK Jr. makes claims linking vaccines and autism, claims that have been debunked again and again and again, he's not just making noise. He's fueling doubt, and that doubt creates real consequences, such as parents second-guessing medical decisions, coworkers making insensitive comments, and individuals with autism questioning whether their workplace is a safe place. Here's the first thing that I want leaders to hear. You do not have to be a medical expert or a political commentator to show up in this moment. What your employees, your colleagues, and maybe even your loved ones need is not perfect knowledge. They don't want that. What they need and what they want is your willingness to listen and to lead with empathy. Now, this means resisting the urge to jump in with your own hot take about the latest headlines. We tend to center ourselves in conversations, and those of us in the majority tend to center ourselves even more. And so what we're not doing is making the conversation about us. We're allowing space where individuals that this is actually about can show up and have that conversation. Instead, we want to be present enough to say, I hear you. I see that this is weighing on you. Tell me how this is impacting you. As a leader, the words that you choose carry weight. When you describe autism as something people suffer from, then you reinforce a deficit lens. When you describe someone as afflicted, that you imply tragedy. But when you say my colleague with autism or my colleague that's on the spectrum, you're naming an identity, one of their identities, not a disease. Language matters because it signals whether you see autism as something broken that needs to be fixed or as part of human diversity that needs to be valued. As leaders, we get paid to fix problems, which means when our team comes to us, we want to fix their problems, but this isn't a problem to be fixed. Tasks need to be fixed. Humans need to be listened to. In moments of backlash, when public voices are amplifying fear, your voice can counterbalance it with respect. So let's bring this into the real world. Imagine that you have an employee with autism who seems quieter than usual. You don't need to bring up Trump or RFK Jr., but you can open the door with a question. How are you doing with everything going on right now? Is there anything that I can do to support you this week? If you don't want to talk about it now, that's fine. Just know my door is open if and when you need to. And then stop talking and listen. That act of listening may be more powerful than anything else that you do. Now, support isn't just about what you say. It's also about what you do. And this can look like reinforcing psychological safety in meetings, so employees with autism feel comfortable contributing without judgment. Making sure your organization's diversity and inclusion efforts explicitly include neurodivergence. I've had the privilege of working with an organization over the past 5 months as they're trying to understand where does neurodivergence fit in their employee resource group. It seemed like it was this really big task, but we broke it down into very small, manageable tasks so that they can create the impact and the safety that they're trying to create for their employees. Modeling respectful responses when someone else makes an uninformed or insensitive comment is also critical. Your team will look to you to know how they should show up. When you show that neurodivergence belongs in the conversation, then you take power away from the stigma, away from the fear, and you create space that allows people to, one, show up as their authentic self, but two, allows it to be a safe space for learning. And this is why this matters. As a leader, you set the tone. If you respond to fear with more fear, your team will too. Whereas if you respond to all of this noise with empathy, then your team learns to follow your lead. You are a multiplier. Your response doesn't just affect one person, it shapes the culture around you. And right now, when headlines are loud and misinformation is everywhere, then your calm, respectful presence has ripple effects that go further than you realize. And let me be clear about what not to do. Don't dismiss someone's feelings by saying, don't worry about it, it's not a big deal. Don't argue science unless you're prepared and qualified to do so, and even then I would be hesitant. And don't assume that silence means that someone is fine. Silence may mean that they're protecting themselves. Remember, the goal is not to fix, it's to support. Autism has always been here. It's not new, and it's not caused by the latest scary headline. What is new is a level of visibility for those that have autism. And with visibility comes both opportunity and backlash. Leaders have a choice in which side of that they reinforce. You don't need to be a scientist, politician, or a doctor to be part of the solution. You just need to be human and show up. Listen, choose your words carefully, support the people around you. And if this message lit a spark, stick around. Every week I share insights from the stage, lessons in leadership, humanity, and the kind of change that actually sticks. Whether you're leading a team or leading yourself, I promise we're going to keep it real, relevant, and just a touch rebellious. And until next time, don't forget, leadership starts with you. And you have got this. I'll see you next week.